Fairview family, welcome back. This is another podcast, and I have two very special guests. Did you guys like being called special there just for a brief second? Hey, real quick, I want you guys to introduce who you are. Some of our folks obviously will know who you are. Some may not because you are Drew on staff, but you're specifically with the students most of the time. So we need to know a little bit about the both of you.
Yeah. Well, my name is Drew Fraley. I am the student minister here at Fairview. Me and Alex here have been married since May 16th and then moved here to Lebanon from Carson Newman. So really settled in now, had a summer of fun, so had a full semester with the youth and now going to be able to kick off a new one soon.
And I am Drew's wife, Alex Fraley. I do all things ministry with Drew. You'll probably see me around running with the students, doing something with them. But went to Carson Newman. I was there for 6 years and then moved here. And it's been great.
You know what? This podcast episode should have been on newlyweds. Like marriage in the first few months type thing. Okay, that's not what the podcast episode is on, because as soon as I said that, y'all had like a sense of fear in your eyes because that's not what you thought about or prepared for. We are going to be talking about community, biblical community, and how we can, as the local church and in the local church, live out our mission by way of community. Now, the reason we have invited the two of you into this conversation is because you guys have recently started a new group. Yeah. Now, just a few clarifications. We have Sunday morning groups on and in the Sunday morning time period. That's 9 o'clock. You guys are invested on Sunday mornings with the students. That's where you guys will be found. But we're talking about a group that does not meet on Sunday mornings. Rather, it meets at your guys' place. Yeah. And it's a newer group, correct?
Yes.
Correct, yeah.
When was the start date? I mean, we're talking recent.
Yeah, probably like 2 months ago when we started meeting consistently. And so added a few more. I think we're around 8 people in total. So,
yeah. What was the original reason, or maybe ask it this way, the thoughts that were birthed within your minds to you wanted to begin to host and have people over at your house in a group setting?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we wanted to be a part of a group, but again, with us being in the youth, serving on Sundays, we didn't really have that ability. But even on, really, I think what started is even on our previous schedule with Worship Together is we saw a lot of people our age, and we realized that a lot of them also serve with kids or even with us on students. And so a lot of people in our age group kind of have the same situation as us, that we're serving on Sundays. And so we were like, let's see if we can get a few of these people together and start forming relationships with them. And Sundays really worked for us in the evening. And so, but we just were like, let's invite each other over, have a meal together, and just talk about the sermon. But again, really kind of just building those relationships with people our age. Because again, there was a lot more than we even realized.
Yeah. So Drew, you're from the area.
Yeah.
So you're from the Lebanon area. You went to Carson Newman, you came back. So you have some community friendships already existing. But Alex, you're not from the area. The reason you're here is because you married into the area in a lot of ways. Alex, I just want your perspective on this. Can you speak to, especially someone being new to the community, not knowing people when you got here, can you speak to the need of community and let's just call it friendship? Yeah. The need that you have?
Mm-hmm. So when we moved here, obviously I didn't have any friends. I do have one person from college, and so I did know her, but coming here I didn't know anyone, and I love to have people over. I love to host, and I just love to be with people. I'm very extroverted, and so coming here, that was kind of hard. Me and Drew, obviously we're together all the time, and so I was like, I need some friends. Yeah. And it just was really clear that it was important for me to have that community, because you need more than just your husband. You need community, you need relationships. And so it was really helpful starting the group. I was able to host, which I love. And then we've built these friendships, and all the other women in our group also love to host, so we've been able to switch our group around so one person's not burdened by that every week. And yeah, so it's been great, and it was just important for me to find those friends, people my age too, specifically. So
Sure. Hey, some of our listeners may only be used to a Sunday morning group or a Sunday morning gathering. Can you just give us a quick walkthrough? What time do you typically meet? What does a meeting look like? How long? And, just give us a glimpse of picture, if you will. Paint that picture for us for a moment.
Yeah, so we meet at 6. We usually start out with having a meal of some sorts. Just did breakfast for dinner this past Sunday, so
Okay.
pretty good.
And you already made mention your group shifts different locations.
Yeah, shifts a
Okay,
little
so
bit.
you share that aspect. Okay.
And then, try to really just dive deep into what the sermon was on that Sunday, and talk through kind of the points that were made, the application it can have towards us, but really low pressure, just conversation. And then a lot of it is just conversation of how their week was, what's going on in their lives. And then typically, I say we play Catan, a board game. That is usually how we end. So the end time, I will say, does not have...
It's flexible.
It's very flexible, yeah.
It's whenever somebody needs to leave, go to bed, gets tired, all those kind of things. And that's fine and good. Address this detail, because this may be a new detail for a lot of folks. You guys don't necessarily have a specific curriculum or book you're going through. You're using what we're calling sermon-based discussion. Talk to me about the advantage of a sermon-based discussion, because I'll just make this mention. It's much easier for you guys to be doing sermon-based discussions on a Sunday afternoon because you just heard the sermon. It's harder for a group on Sunday mornings before they hear the sermon, so it flows a little bit better for you guys. But speak to the advantages of maybe the preparation aspect of that, the communal aspect of that you guys have already seen in your group.
It's a lot easier on all of us because, again, all of us serve in some aspect. So we're not putting more pressure on ourselves to look over the curriculum, come up with questions, whatever that may be. So that is a lot easier on everyone, and just, again, very low pressure. And we're able to discuss how we can apply the sermon rather than just hearing it and then going throughout our week and not thinking about it again.
That's good.
And then you can hear about different things that maybe stuck out to other people, because something that stuck out to me may have not stuck out to Drew or one of our other people in our group. So
that's good. Yeah. That's good. Okay, so you have a very kind of casual gathering, got a little food, some time that y'all are enjoying, playing games at some point in time, but you have that moment where the word is opened, the conversation about the sermon's happening, but that is all kind of connected to all the other conversations and discussions you guys are having. So here's the term that you often hear regarding discipleship and community type conversation like we're having, doing life together. Okay, so what in the world does that look like and mean for what your experience has been, and also the expectations that you guys may have in doing life with other people, whether it be folks of your age or not, but you're intentional with other people in community?
Yeah.
Speak on that for a moment.
Yeah, so that's a phrase definitely many people have heard. We do life together. But I came across probably a week ago, and Alex, I think, even shared it with me, about a statistic about what it means to actually gather together with a purpose. So 60 years ago, the average dinner time was 90 minutes with family and friends. That's 60 years ago. Today, it's less than 12 minutes. So we have lost really the ability to gather with a purpose, and really know what's happened in each other's lives. And so doing life together means doing currently some even abnormal things, which is sitting at a dinner table for more than 12 minutes. And so when you do life together, right, lonely people find family, hurting people find healing, and the kingdom of God advances. But I think the biggest thing is challenging things that even I'm used to as I'm young. Like, I don't ever remember sitting at the dinner table for 90 minutes with my family or my friends. But making us, put down our phones or just have time together, conversations together. And those are the things that grow our relationship the most, and keep us really able to be able to open up about anything when it comes to our spiritual growth, just having that foundation first, I think, is really important. So doing life together, for me and people our age, looks different because we're trying to get away from that aspect of let's hang out for 5 minutes and then let's just sit there on our phones and not really have intentional conversations.
Yeah, that's good. Have you guys found that being in a setting on a Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, that you don't have a time constraint has allowed for a bit more transparency, a bit more openness from the other people in the group? Has that been something that you've seen or experienced or felt?
Yeah, we have been able to share on all sides, it's all couples that we are with. So we've all been able to share different things that we might be struggling with, and then even growing those relationships individually as well. Like I call someone that's in our group like at least twice a week, and we just chat and talk and are able to share things that we're struggling with, things that are going on. And so that's been really nice, and definitely allowed us to share things that are maybe a little bit more personal that you wouldn't maybe feel as comfortable sharing. Like when you have more of a time constraint, you don't really want to get into that type of thing. If
Sure.
You're like, yeah, we only have 90 minutes. Let me share everything I'm dealing with and take up 60. So
Yeah.
And then just like celebrate like the big things and small things. Like literally this past Sunday, we were on one of the couples in our group just bought a house. So we got to, how many pictures do you think we went through? Probably like 90
so
pictures of their home. That took probably like an hour, but we were just like walking through what their home's going to look like. But I think that's just the stuff that, you don't have the time to do. But again, that's a thing where we're all together sitting and celebrating, this big moment in our life of a new chapter. But again, that's intentionality that you really can't get with a time constraint, especially on like a Sunday morning.
Yeah. Okay, so answer this question: what you're using this sermon-based type conversation? That's your curriculum. What do you do when you come to the conversation where there's a question asked and nobody knows the answer to it?
Yeah, it happens. Yeah,
I feel like it happened like the first week we did it. But what we ended up doing, I think, is just we all were able to talk about the question and maybe like offer what we believe the answer may be, what we are thinking, and then be able to dive into that a little bit more too. But
yeah.
And alongside of that, I don't know the answer to, or maybe nobody does. Have you also found that when people gather, and again, we're just separating the difference of a Sunday morning group compared to y'all's group, that there's pros and cons to each. Not one is better, but you guys have a different flavor that you're experiencing on a regular basis. What about when you have folks who are on different spiritual maturity levels? Have you found the benefit? Is there a benefit in your type of gathering that doesn't have a time constraint, that doesn't have, we've got to finish up to get to the worship service type of thing? Is there a benefit in even addressing or engaging different spiritual maturity levels that you've noticed?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, even for a group like this, it really challenges the idea of like presence over presentation. Like we're not trying to present ourselves as the most spiritually mature because we're technically the leaders of the group, or we're not trying to present ourselves as the one who has all the answers, but we're just trying to have presence together. And again, that opens up, really revealed, hey, we may be on spiritual maturity different levels, but we're focused on not trying to present ourselves as a know-it-all or don't know much, but just what does God's word say? How can this apply to us on our week that's coming up? Because I think that's the biggest thing is I think every single time we leave, we realize, oh man, we have like work tomorrow. Like we got to go, we got to get up early. And so it's like, we just heard what God's word has to say to us about how we are going to be, bold and faithful. And so now Monday's coming pretty soon, and now it's like, let's put this, even what we heard on Sunday and even talked about, into action.
Yeah.
And so that challenges, people to not think, well, I'm not smart enough or I don't know enough, but simply, hey, we're all here trying to do the same thing, which is put what we are hearing into action. And we all have really different jobs in our group. Some work downtown, some work in schools. And so it's a lot of opportunity to hear different stories of how the gospel is impacting, someone they've been working with for a while, and someone that may be, a kid in their classroom.
Sure.
So it's different.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so we have in our mission statement a phrase regarding reaching our neighbors. In this kind of setting, in someone's home, a public space, you have there's a different feel. Yeah. Have you guys found or have experienced yet there's an easier invitation for others to come engage your group rather than, but like that may be the first invitation they have rather than maybe Sunday morning church, or is it a both and? Like, can you speak to what you've experienced either with new folks coming in or other couples just joining? How has that worked itself out?
There is a couple, they haven't been able to join us yet just because of busyness, but that they are going to join us. They don't attend Fairview, but they're just friends with another couple in our group, and they're going to come. And I just think it's wonderful to get to know more people. I mean, that was part of us wanting to start a group, is to get closer with other people. So knowing people outside of just Fairview then also, but then them hearing about what the sermon was about, and then possibly getting to then come see those sermons. If they're like, oh, we really enjoy what you guys are learning, what we're hearing, we could come and on a Sunday and see if it's something we want to come to every week or whatever.
Yeah, and even, not having a sort of curriculum where maybe people have to prepare beforehand. Like it is a very easy thing to come have a meal with someone, talk about the sermon, even if you weren't there, just because we can look at the passage and you can get a good gist of what was talked about on Sunday morning. And then saying, hey, we would love for you to come experience this together with us, and gives them a person that they can come sit next to, or just continue to know what it looks like to be a part of a community that's different. A biblical community is going to look and feel different than any other community they've probably experienced before, if they have never walked through church doors or haven't been in a while. So trying to get them that feel of, yes, this is a time for us to hang out, but it's even more than that. We are establishing a biblical community that we want you to be a part of. Come experience this, but this is just a taste of what you can really experience if you come on Sundays and experience what it looks like to worship together, to open God's Word together. And so I think that can be super beneficial to people that are a little timid, maybe, of even walking through the doors of a church in general.
Okay, so I've got to ask this. Have you found yourself knowing that the Sunday afternoons are coming, engaging the sermon differently? Do you listen different? Are you processing different? Are you trying to think through, oh, that's a good point to bring up for conversation or discussion, or that's a question that we need to ask to journey into deeper? Do you find yourself engaging differently, knowing that the discussion's coming later that day?
When I write my notes during the sermon, sometimes there'll be a question that's asked or a question that comes to mind for me, and I'll write that down in my notes and want as to bring that up, at group. So
so it's definitely in your mind. The group later that day is definitely on the mind.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so what about anyone who may currently not be involved in a group, no matter what group that is or when it may meet? They're not currently involved. What advice would you give them for engaging, being intentional to go engage in a group? Because it's not easy.
Yeah.
From an outsider's perspective, you look at current groups that exist and you think, they've already got community. They've already got relationships built. They have inside jokes that I don't know about. And so when you walk in, there's a sense of that first time that you go, there's awkwardness and you don't know what the regular rhythms and routines are. So what advice would you give for someone who may be in a scenario like that?
Yeah, I think even if someone's an introvert or an extrovert, every person is made for relationship. And that is needed deeply for everyone. And so I think if someone isn't in a group and they don't have this sort of community they feel attached to, that they can depend on, they can have accountability for, you need that desperately. I think, we've been fortunate enough to always really have that. But then thinking even if us just trying to think of what it would mean for us not to have that, how hard that would be for us. We definitely I couldn't do my job. She couldn't serve if we don't have people, with us in a group. It just wouldn't happen. We would be burnt out very, very quickly. And so we need people. You need relationship. And so, I think desiring to also grow in reading God's word with people is also important. You need that time. Praying together is important. Having accountability is important. And so, again, you can always have communities. I can always find a community. We can go to the London Run Club and have that little community.
You can find community everywhere.
You can.
That's the key word. That's how people attract you these days. Community. Find community here.
Yeah. But it's just not biblical community.
That's right.
And so it's completely different. And so you need that.
So let's see if frame it in this manner. Engaging in a group, committing to a group is not another commitment the local church is asking for. It is simply part of the design that is the local church. Yeah. And you guys both have experienced good community in local church life before you came to Fairview. And it's a continuing desire. And you've created healthy habits, healthy rhythms for engaging in community. So there's other people that may be listening who serve on Sunday mornings or want to serve on Sunday mornings knowing that they may have to miss their group. And you're showing us there's an opportunity that can still happen with some creativity, maybe who you're gathering with, when your group meets, or having a both and. Serving on Sunday morning, but when you don't serve on Sunday morning, go into a group on Sunday morning, and there still could be a community even outside of that. That's a both and it's all good and beautiful. Alex, any last words to help bring all this together?
Yeah, I think that community isn't just Sundays. I think that it's Monday through Saturday. It's checking in on those people, keeping them accountable, being held accountable by those people as well, going to Drew coaches basketball, coming to Drew's basketball games and going over for another game night during the week. Just it's being with them not only on Sundays and not only on those Sunday nights that we meet, meeting outside of that too, and being in community outside of then, and also getting involved in a community sometimes is maybe a little awkward, like you were saying. But when we started our group, we didn't really know anyone in our group. We just found the young married couples and we're like, please come hang out with us. And we've gotten to that point that we do have some funny inside jokes and we really know each other. And so it's going to take time and work, but it's so worth it in the end. So.
And here's a good point, because I'm sitting here thinking, what would some people say about the two of you gathering with other couples and some, I know I've heard this before in my own past. They're like, oh, you can do that. You don't have kids yet. And so you have all those type of thought processes, but it's good. You guys made a really good reminder earlier of this, that there's really, community is an essential biblical element. And it doesn't matter what season of life you're in, whether it be in a state of singleness, whether it be a young married couple like the two of you, whether it be young kids and a young family that's growing in that manner, you still need to prioritize community. Yeah. There's not a season in your life where community needs to be a backseat. It needs to be a priority, and that is what the local church is all about. Yeah. Drew, any lasting parting words for us?
Yeah, I mean that's a great reminder. Biblical community doesn't take a break. It doesn't need a break, right? It is just something that, again, is a part of what it means to be a part of the local church. And so, big reminder is, you are made for relationships and you are made for community. And if you don't have that, I pray that you would consider, joining a group, reaching out to people, being, even if you're an introvert, being bold enough to, talk to some people you've never talked to before, sit in on a community group that you've never been to before, and engage. Because I guarantee you, even though it may be hard at first, a year from now, you're going to look back and see how much you've grown spiritually, but also how much more involved you are even here at Fairview.
Yeah. So if you are listening and are interested in connecting with one of our groups, you can go through our church app. We have a section there right on the homepage that is dedicated to groups. Click on that. You're going to see all of our groups. Most of them do meet on Sunday mornings. And then you have, what is y'all's group called? Are y'all just...
I think it just says Fraley
Yeah,
group.
it's called the Fraley group, yeah.
Well, we are original with the names of our groups. I think that's how most of our groups are labeled, by the last names of either the leaders or the facilitators. And so you can connect via a group through the group page on the app. So if that's something of interest to you, you can do that through the app. You can go to the Next Steps Center on Sunday mornings there in the lobby. Several ways that you can connect, and we want to make sure we connect as many people as possible in our groups, because, as you may mention, Alex, community isn't Sunday morning. It's every single day, and it not only aids us in our walk with Christ, but it continues to further the mission that the local church is to be about. Hey, guys, thank you all for you guys coming in here. Maybe soon we have a podcast on newlyweds and marriage in that first year, the perspective of the first year. That'd be fun. That'd be engaging, but no worries, not now. Thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time, we love you, appreciate you, and we'll see you at church.